In today's video, we'll continue our discussion around personality types, how they affect money, and we'll tackle the classic, the hallmark, Myers-Briggs assessment. Hi guys, I'm Katie Mild. Welcome to this week's Money Minute. So in today's video, we're going to continue our discussion around personality assessments. And more specifically, we're going to do a deep dive into the MBTI, the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, or simply the Myers-Briggs, as you may have commonly heard it. Now, the MBTI is a much in-depth, deeper, intensive personality analysis. If you choose to take one of these, I highly recommend that you go to the professional website. I've included the link below, and find a test center, find an instructor who is certified in the instruction and in the ability to give you the full professional assessment. The full assessment is very in-depth, very deep, very intense. So today we're just going to do a quick high-level overview of what the MBTI encompasses and how it may show up in certain money habits. So the MBTI is broken down into, the results of it, can be 16 different personality types. Each of those personalities are made up of a unique combination of 4 letters. So you have E versus I, S versus N, T versus F, and J versus P. So what do these mean? E versus I, extroversion versus introversion. This means, what is your favorite world? Are you external facing? Do you prefer to focus on the outer world? Or are you inward facing, internal? Do you prefer to focus on your inner world? You may have also heard this described as, where do you gather your energy from? Do you get energy from being around people, being outside your world? Or do you regenerate your energy by focusing inward? E versus I, extroversion versus introversion. The next indicator is S versus N, sensing versus intuition. This has to do with how you process information. Do you prefer to focus on basic information when you take it in, or do you prefer to interpret and add meaning to it? This is called sensing versus intuition. The next indicator is thinking versus feeling. This is how we make decisions. So when you make decisions, do you prefer to first look at logic and consistency, or are you first looking at the people or the special circumstances, what's happening around those elements? This is called thinking, T, versus feeling, F. And the last indicator is J versus P, judging versus perceiving. This deals with, this is how you deal with structure. In dealing with the outside world, do you prefer to get things decided pretty quickly, or do you prefer to stay open to new information or new options as they come in? This is called judging versus perceiving. So again, E versus I, S versus N, T versus F, J versus P. When you take the Myers-Briggs assessment, your unique combination, one of 16, will generate, and that will instantly give you your personality type, how you show up in the world, how you perceive things, how you take in information, how you navigate both internal and external circumstances. So just like I did last time, I'll take you through my own Myers-Briggs and give you a few high-level observations. So when I took this assessment, and I've taken it a couple of times over the course of many years, and when I most recently took it, it remained pretty consistent. I am an ESFJ, so that stands for extroverted, sensing, feeling, and judging. So let's break this down. ESFJs can be a little complicated, as can all 16. One thing that's important to note: no one assessment will capture everyone perfectly 100% of the time. There may be things that ring true with you and others that you may scratch your head at. That's okay. Take all the information in. Also, no one personality type is considered better or worse than any of the others. There are pros and cons, strengths and blind spots to every single one of these. So let's dive into the ESFJ, into my personality. In general, ESFJs are considered to be pretty friendly, tactful, sympathetic, loyal, and we value cooperation. We want people to collaborate. We want there to be a sense of peace and harmony. When there's discord, we don't do well. ESFJs value order. They tend to persevere through tough circumstances. They like to get things done, and they like to make decisions pretty quickly. Past experiences, positive or negative, drive ESFJs and heavily influence how they serve current problems that they're facing today. Plans and ideas have to be based in fact. We like fact. We like rational thought as EFFJs. We also like routine and we like consistency. Now, on the flip side, those have all been some pretty positive things. On the flip side, this is where we can go a little too far. We sometimes lack flexibility. We lack spontaneity. We like our plans. We worry a lot. So what does that mean? If we take it too far, we tend to be really anxious, and sometimes anxious over things that we really have no control over. If it's also taken too far, many ESFJs worry about status. They like to look around and see what other people are doing. They like to keep up, and they value reputation and how they are perceived by others. So how can this specifically translate to money management? When it comes to money, in general, the findings are pretty similar to what I found on the Enneagram, and I think they ring true for me. ESFJs value security and stability above all else. This is why we like order and we like plans. We tend to love laying detailed plans. So things like budgets, Excel spreadsheets, we love those kinds of things. We like to lay detailed plans for the future. So we tend to save a lot for retirement. We're thinking ahead for children's college funds. We like to plan ahead. We like to budget. Once plans are laid and once plans are set in motion, then ESFJs, then we can take a bit of a breather, relax, and maybe have a little bit of fun. But first, the plan has to be laid and has to be executed and in motion before we can start to relax. Now, if an ESFJ takes it too far, because again, they like to make sure that their reputation's being upheld. They like to look around, and unfortunately, they can be guilty of comparing themselves too much to other people. If an ESFJ allows this comparison to get out of hand, they can be subject to the whole keeping up with the Joneses rat race mentality. So if they're not being conscientious about their spending, they may overspend. They may spend beyond their means. Even if they've laid a plan, they may ignore it in favor of trying to keep up with someone else. So if ESFJs aren't careful and aren't continuously conscientious and cautious, they could get derailed in that way. So that's just a little bit of insight into how I show up, how I operate as an ESFJ, and how it shows up in money management. So again, the Myers-Briggs assessment is a wonderful tool to help you shed light and gain insight on how you show up, how your preferences and behavior choices really impact all aspects of your life, not just money management. If you're interested in learning more, I've included the links below to this one and the Enneagram. Feel free to take those. Again, I recommend the official versions of these exams. There are always free ones available online for a quick, fun assessment. But if you really want the real deal, sign up, pay the small fee. It's not that much, and get the real deal done for the full assessment. And remember, everything that you read about in these assessments, take it with a grain of salt and use it as a great learning opportunity to improve upon yourself, level up, particularly in your finances. So that is it for today. If you like the content I'm putting out, please ring the bell below to subscribe and tell me in the comments below. Have you taken a Myers-Briggs? What did it show you? Did it shed light on any area of your personality that you may not have realized? Do you think it shows how you consistently deal with your money? Tell me your experiences and insights below. I'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next time.